We're also going to go ahead right now. We're going to set up the list that we're referring to. So the list here, messages, we're going to abbreviate MSG as the list. It's going to equal new messages. It's going to have a parameter here that isn't necessarily a parameter, but it acts like one because of how we set it up. We're actually calling to the function here at this point. So now we set up the functions. Our next objective is to code the first function. And in coding this, we're going to use a for loop, and we're also going to use a counter to store the maximum value of how many options we have. So we're going to make the max what's called a global variable, meaning both functions can access it. And real simply, the way we do that is by declaring it outside of any function. So right now, variable max equals 0. Okay. So with function messages, we're going to go in here and reestablish the value of max to equal messages.arguments, which is going to be how many messages are in here, dot length. So let's go in and add our messages. So you separate messages here by commas. Hello class, this is fun. I enjoy teaching. So right inside here we have 1, 2, 3 different arguments, so max will equal 3. From here, we're going to go in and do a for loop for I equals 0. So this is our starting point of the loop, which is how our loop will be controlled. So we have to tell it where to start. The next part is we have to tell it how to run while the statement is true. So it will continue to run as long as I is less than max. Max being the maximum amount of messages that can show up. And then each time we're going to increase it by 1. I'm going to do a left brace and a right brace. So this here ends the for loop, and this here ends the function. So we can keep that straight. We're going to use, for the final part here, what programmers often refer to as this. What this does, and I mean that in the literal, we're going to use the word this, takes the current object that it is focused on and gives it a definition. So it's going to turn each one of these into a position in an array. And it's going to say this of I, so this particular message that we're focusing on, equals messages dot arguments of that same position. So it's establishing that this is what we're going to focus on. So all this one does is it takes each one of these and allows the program to focus on that particular list and establishes a new list.